Oh, hi, Mark.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and all I want for Christmas is you. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_Beeble, on TikTok at redrock_Beeble, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create the account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, so listen on the audio side and watch the video side. Do both of those things and thumb it up and comment, and all of those things are useful. Okay, we're looking ahead to Tuesday. If you didn't get my little cryptic intro to the show, I'm sure you did. Mark Williams is back, sort of. He's questionable, and that's as close to back as we get. We'll talk about that when we get to the Hornets game, of course. I prepared all of these graphics just before that news dropped, so that's sick and great and fantastic and awesome, but that's okay. That is the dynamic nature of this business, of the injuries and what happens, and we've got some other injuries that have updated in that time frame as well, so I'll show you the graphics and I'll talk about what has changed during that time. Let's take a look at Tuesday's action. 11 games are on. So let's take a look at all of those ones, what we're watching for, what are the stream options, all of that interesting things. And the first game is your Charlotte Hornets. They're hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. And stupid me, I went ahead and assumed that Mark Williams was going to be out. And he's not. Well, he might be, but he's not. Schedule-wise, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for the Sixers, whereas the Hornets are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Embiid is out. Andre Drummond is out. Paul George, it is the first game of a back-to-back, so I thought maybe he might be out here, but he's playing on Tuesday, so that questionable tag can go. Paul George is playing on Tuesday, and he is most likely going to be out on Wednesday. We've got Kyle Lowry, who is returning from his hip issue that's caused him to miss the last couple of weeks or whatever it is. Lowry is now upgraded to probable, so he's going to be available to play. Caleb Martin's been upgraded to probable, so has Reggie Jackson. So a lot of updates there in this one, and also a lot of updates on the Charlotte side. We know that LaMelo Ball is out. We know that Trey Mann is out. What we also got is Miles Bridges ruled out again for his 7th consecutive game with his second knee injury. That's a terrible sign. And then, of course, the upgrade of Mark Williams, but not to be left out. Daquan Jeffries also upgraded for potentially his first game. Both Daquan and Mark are both questionable. I thought they'd be out, but nope, there we are. Out of nowhere, they are ready to return. Should you grab Mark Williams? Probably yes. I don't know how it's going to go between him and BDNR Nick Richards. I would imagine Richards gets the minutes at first, and I imagine this is it, done, cooked for Moussa Diabate. Although he'll get some minutes at the 4, along with Tijan Salan. But yeah, this is not going to be any 12-team value there for the big fella Diabate. But Mark is returning unbelievably. I cannot believe it. If I had a Walmart here, I would have fallen to my knees inside of it in anticipation. What are we watching on the Sixers? We're watching Jared McCain. We're watching shellac legend Jared McCain, who moved to the bench last game so that we could get more Kelly Oubre. Because, if there's one thing we want in our lives, it's more Kelly Oubre. And I will be fair to self-branded hat legend Nick Nurse in that the McCain and Maxey backcourt does not work. It is horrible defensively, and it does not work in that sense. My issue, I guess, is that McCain only playing 29 minutes is a concern, and his lack of a robust fantasy stat line means that I'm going to have a very, very short leash in terms of moving on from Jared. So let's see what he's able to do here. For the Hornets, no LaMelo, no Trey Mann, obviously. So Vasa Micic is going to be starting, and he's going to be useful for me. If you're in deeper leagues, we're going with KJ Simpson. But Micic is going to be someone that I have grabbed in every spot. And the guys that I've grabbed, and I tweeted this out today, or I skeeted it out, depending on how you want to say it. The guy that I've grabbed in every spot that I can is Micic and Malik Monk. They're the two guys that I've grabbed in like 5 leagues over the last week, and I was able to get ahead of both of those guys, and I'm pretty happy with that result so far. In terms of stream, guys, with no Drummond and no Embiid, we have to go with Gershon Yabusele. Now, some of you in the old double Onyx, Platinum, Diamond, Titanium leagues, you might want to get Boner. Adem Boner, I think, is actually a good player. And in deeper leagues, there's going to be opportunities for us to get some boner action for this game, especially against this Hornets team. And then for the Hornets side of things, well, we do stream Big Dick Nick Richards, and then if Mark Williams plays, it impacts him, but Williams, bro, has not played in a year, so I think he's not going to be coming in with big minutes or anything along those lines. The second game of the day is your Washington Wizards going to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Schedule-wise, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday for both teams, and the Cavs are a gigantic 16-point favourites in this one. Who is out? Well, the future MVP, Kyle Kuzma, is out, and Max Strus and Dean Wade are out in Cleveland. Last game, we saw Jonas Valanciunas get the start in place of Kuzma, and I think that might be the case again going up against this big front court. Not that they're super strong, but this big front court in Cleveland. I want to watch Jordan Poole, because as much as I was very into drafting Jordan Poole in the 70s zone this season, and then he was a top 10 guy for a period of time, over the last 3 weeks or so, he's 100th. Things have fallen off. The big steal and block numbers have cooled back, and some of the shooting numbers, he's still been very good for what we expect, and it just has dropped. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. In Cleveland, speaking of not living up to expectations, Donovan Mitchell's been not very good for where you drafted him. If you picked him in the first round, that's completely on you. That was an insane choice at the time. But many of you grabbed him in the second round. I didn't actually draft Donovan anywhere because I had him as a third round player, I believe, or at least back end of the second. I didn't get him anywhere, and he's even been worse than that. I want to see some improvements here from Don because it hasn't been very strong. And in terms of stream guys on the Wizards, a guy that's been dropped in a lot of spots, and I understand why, is Bilal Coulibaly. So if he is available, he's definitely streamable, but he is, in points leagues especially, he is trending towards a drop very fast. On the Cavs side of things, Karis LeVert was very good in the last game. He's going to take a bit of a sip out of the old milk carton and cut some of Ty Jerome's value there. LeVert is useful enough for streaming, but probably not a must-roster type of player at this point. Not that you'll ever be, maybe necessarily. The Bucks and the Pistons is the next one that we're going to take a look at. This one is in Detroit. Schedule-wise, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for the Bucks, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday for Detroit. Middleton is out. I would be very doubtful that Chris returns on Wednesday, but I don't know. Giannis is dealing with a sore tummy. He is probable. Taurean Prince is probable, and Marjan Beauchamp is probable, while old mate Bobby Klittman is out, and Cade Cunningham, I believe I've labelled him probable. I think he might officially be probable. I'm just going to double-check on that one, if my screen would load up and tell me. I think they've updated his schedule. No, he's not even on the injury report, Cade, so he is ready to go. On the Bucks, I don't think you need to roster Bobby Portis, but every game that goes by, we get a little bit of extra data on it, so let's pay attention there. And I also don't think you need to roster Asar Thompson for Detroit. Not that I don't think Asar can be good under the right circumstances, but you know what? This isn't the right circumstance. He can't shoot. He's coming off a serious blood clot issue, and Beasley, Hardaway, they're all going to play. Fontecchio, Harris, even Ron Holland. There's not enough for Asar to do to be a 12-team league player at this point, I don't think, and I don't think he is worth holding. In terms of stream guys, the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince, it's always iffy. It could be him, it could be Trenner, it could be AJ Green, but I go with Prince a little bit there with Middleton out. And then for Detroit, well, it has to be Leaky Beasley. And of course, now that I've said it has to be, he might throw up a Tim Hardaway, a 1 of 10, but Hardaway has been terrible. Beasley's been very good, and he's worth having that crack at. The Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks. We're in New York for this one. Madison Square Garden. Orlando goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The Knicks are a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday team. There's no Paolo Banchero. There's no Gaz Harris for Orlando. And for the Knicks, there is no Big Sneeze, Precious Achiuwa, nor is there a Mitchell Robinson. And that is all really straightforward stuff. On the Magic side of things, I want to see a couple of things from Jalen Suggs. A, can you stop fouling out? B, I think he's missed one free throw all season. Is that a real thing? C, his 2-point numbers are down. Where does it all sort of fit in? And his assist numbers are really high. I love what Suggs doing. I just want to see 32 every night and a little bit of stability in some of the efficiency stuff. For the Knicks, last game we actually got a good Mikal Bridges game. I'd like to see more than one of those. How does that all work? Him and the Anunoby, who's on a downswing at the moment, how do they balance that stuff out? In terms of stream guys, Goga Badadze continues to start next to Wendell Carter Jr., and he shouldn't be a stream guy, but he's 38% rostered, so he is. So go on at him. And then when Paolo returns, we adjust it. I think it's impossible that he maintains value when Paolo returns, but that's okay. We figure that out when we get there. And then the Knicks stream guy is nearly always going to be Juice McBride over Cam Payne, although Payne is a nice assist player. And yeah, again, that's a relatively straightforward game, I think. We have got another 7 games to talk about, which we will do, of course. We'll get in and we'll talk about those 7 games. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Yes, you know what PrizePicks is. PrizePicks is the best place for you to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members, and they've given out billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less in at least 2 players, or for at least 2 players, to get a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. So run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It is so easy to do. You go in there, you look at all the individual player stats, and you just pick, is this more or less? What are they going to do with those individual numbers? You can play PrizePicks in over 30 states, including the Big Four: California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Unfortunately, Rhode Island just missing out on being a part of the Big Four. I don't even know if it's available in Rhode Island. And I'm sure I've got about 2. If you are watching this show from Rhode Island, please drop a comment. But PrizePicks, that's where you need to go. Get in on that action. They pay out super fast as well. Within 15 minutes, when you get your victories, your wins, PrizePicks will value you as a member, and they'll send that out to you incredibly, incredibly fast. So download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Don't have to win it. You download the app, you use the code LOCKEDONNBA, and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Yes, Game Time, including their unbelievable new feature, Game Time Picks, is here. And what Game Time Picks does, it filters out the fluff when you are looking to get tickets to go and watch live sports, comedy, music, theatre. When local sports team is playing in your area, Game Time Picks allows you to go in there and take a look at all the different options without having to sift through all of the million options to go and see favorite sports team and see how they're able to get those tickets to you. There's so many other things as well. They've got event cancellation protection, bang. Lowest price guarantee, easy does it. They've got the views from your seat. So when you go onto the Game Time app, you click in there and you can actually see what it's going to look like when you are in there at the ballpark watching your favorite team. So go in there and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, we have got some more of these games to go into. This is the 5th game of the day. It's the Indiana Pacers traveling up to take on the Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam versus Bruce Brown revenge game. It's all happening. The Pacers go Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. The Raptors are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Pacers are 1.5-point favorites here on the road. Nesmith and Shepherd are going to be out, whereas for Toronto, it's Quickly, it's Bruce Brown, it's Kelly Olynyk. But the big fella himself, Grade A Dick, has been upgraded to questionable. We have not seen Dick for the last 4 games. He's been out with that calf issue, but he could be returning. That's going to kill any Davion Mitchell. It's going to kill Jacoby Walter and any of their alleged value if he happens to play. What we want to watch? Well, it's a Pacers game. It's on the road. So Tyrese Haliburton, what are we aiming for? 20% shooting, 15% shooting, 4 assists? What are we looking at here? Is this story of Tyrese Haliburton and the road home splits versus planes, trains, buses, hotels, mattresses, pillows, Caucasian female population, I don't know. Whatever it is, we gain more data. We can't do anything with it, but I guess maybe it sets us up to be less disappointed when he's terrible. I want to watch Jakob Poeltl on the Raptors, not because I've got many doubts about him being a good player, because I know that he is, but his minutes have been really, really strong. 37 and 32 the last 2 games. With the 2 prior, it sort of dipped to he played 30 and 28 the 2 prior. So where are we actually at with Poeltl? Are we 34? Because that's unbelievable. Are we 30? Still good. So let's sort of keep an eye on that. In terms of stream guys, Timothy John McConnell in Indiana. You can look at Jarris Walker there as well. Hello. Or Ochai Agbaji in Toronto, who again is not very good. But there are opportunities to him to play 25 plus minutes. I think the re-emergence of Dick is probably going to have some sort of an impact on Agbaji, and it reduces the amount of minutes that we see for Ochai in that sort of scenario. Next game, Utah Jazz. They go to Oklahoma City to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, coincidentally. In terms of schedule, it's a Tuesday, Friday, Sunday for Jazz. And for Jazz, man, what is that sort of... vernacular is the right word. What's the correct word I'm looking for in terms of how you speak? speaking. No, what's the word? I'm looking for diction. No. Anyway, I don't know how to speak, so that's okay. We'll figure that word out later. The Thunder go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and they are the Oklahoma City Thunder 14.5 point favorites. Who is in or who is out? Well, Utah hasn't given us the full update yet, but we've seen no Kyle Filipowski for the last 5 games. He has been cut off from our fantasy rosters, and we'll see if he does return where he plays. And then Jordan Clarkson's actually played 1 game out of his last 6 with plantar fasciitis. If he returns, it means we get even more uncertainty with what they do with Colin Sexton's minutes, who, by the way, these are Sexton's minutes. I know that I'm not talking about him here, but I am now. 29, 30, 40, 31, 38, 25, 32, 20, 29. So, if you can figure out what they're going to do with Colin Sexton, please give me a call, because I have absolutely no idea. And Clarko returning will make that even less clear. For the Thunder, there's no Chet, there's no Pig Williams, there's no Usman Jeng, and I don't believe we've got an update yet on the rabbit hunter Alex Caruso, who just hurt his hip and came back and just doesn't play anymore. He missed a bunch of games, came back, played 2 of them, and left again. And the last time we saw him was November 20th. So we're 2 weeks since then, and just no updates at all, which is not a good spot, not a good sign at all. On the Jazz side of things, what are we watching for? Well, Walker Kessler's playing a lot of minutes. Is that because Filipowski is out, or is this the new thing? Because 31, these are the last 5 games from Walker. 35, 28, 31, 30, 35. That's obviously ridiculously good. That's a top 50 player. But he was playing like 24, 25 prior to this. So, like, how do we view that with Walker as we move forward? Is that a real thing? Is he going to be playing at that level? I don't know, but we want to find out, yeah? And then for the Thunder, speaking of minutes sort of coming out of nowhere, which has been exactly what's been happening, Cason Wallace, who at the start of the year, we were getting so many ups and downs in terms of playing time. And I think some of this is largely the Alex Caruso absence. But Cason Wallace's minutes, starting from the most recent game, 36, 31, 33, a 15-minute game that he left early, 26 and 34. 30 minutes of Cason Wallace is probably a 12-team league guy. I just want to see it, don't I? Give me one more of them, Cason. The Jazz, with the uncertainty around Clarkson and Filipowski, it's a little bit tough to look at stream guys. Maybe it's Bryce Sensabaugh, but that could be completely cut off. Whereas Lou Dort is the stream guy for the Thunder, and then Wallace is the other option there for us as well. The next game, we're talking Memphis and Dallas. We did get a bunch of injury updates for the Mavericks, so that's great news. The Grizzlies played Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, whereas Dallas is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. In Memphis, it's all the same guys. It's Vince out. It's Gigi Jackson out. We might be getting Zach Edey out, but we don't have an update on that yet. But like I said, we did get the updates in Dallas. Kyrie Irving sat the game over the weekend, but he is off the injury report, so he's ready to go. Najee Marshall is out. Dante Exum is out. Interestingly, Derek Lively, after the knee issue, is questionable. He's not even doubtful or out. So Lively is questionable, and Klay Thompson, who has missed 4 consecutive games, is questionable too. So we know that Najee is out and Kyrie is back. So that probably does kill your Quentin Grimes. But Marshall being out will give a little bit of extra stuff there. It'll also kill your Spencer Dinwiddie's too. In Memphis, what I want to watch is Santi Aldama, who is shooting the lights out. But to me, it's about his role. I do not want Santi Aldama on my roster as a 22-minute a night player. I don't care what he has done so far. He has been really good. What we try to do is, that's fine. We acknowledge that he's being good, and that might continue. It might. But I find it hard to believe that 23 minutes of Santi Aldama is going to be consistently 12-team viable. But we're always adjusting. We're taking in new information and making that call, and could very easily be wrong on this. Very easily. He has been good. But it's just, there's a lot of things where I go, I don't know about that. That's probably going to fall. Not sure. So we watch where Undaba fits. For the Mavs, Dan Gafford, how many locker room trips can we slide into this one? And then what does he do if Lively does play? How limited is Derek Lively? Because we've been getting a lot of Muxie Kleber as well. We're going to have Kleber, we're going to have Lively, we're going to have Gafford. What are the minutes like for Dan? For now, we're holding him, but yeah, we see. In terms of stream guys, Marcus Smart is doing enough to be a streamable player. That is limiting what Scott Pippen is able to do. And then Grimes is probably the Dallas streamer. Of course, if Klay and Kyrie both play, there's very little there for Grimes to do. And he's not a massive Najee Marshall replacement because they do play different positions. So I'm not sure how much of a giant benefit that would be given that Najee is on the sidelines. The Spurs and the Suns. is the next game up for us to look at. This one is in Phoenix in terms of schedule. It's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, San Antonio. Phoenix is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. By the way, I haven't even mentioned this. This is the final day of the NBA Cup round robin period. And after this, we will find out who makes it in. And then we'll be able to find out the schedule for next week, which starts on the 9th of December. And when you go to your fantasy app, you will open it up and you will see no games scheduled between the 9th and the 16th. That does not mean there are no games on. There are games on every day. We just don't know what they are yet. And we will find that out, I'm guessing, on Wednesday. We'll find out what that schedule is. Sochan is going to be out for the Spurs, and I don't expect that Trey Jones plays. He left the last game with a shoulder issue, didn't return. I don't think he plays. What we did get in Phoenix is an update with Jusuf Nurkic now dealing with a quad issue after he had some ankle problems. So Nurkic's out for at least a week. Plumlee and Iguodaro were going to be options there. Last game, we saw a lot more Iguodaro than Plumlee. I think largely that is Warriors related, and I think both guys are interesting without being must grabs. And then in other positive news, Bradley Beal has been upgraded to probable after he missed the game on Saturday. So it looks like Bealo will be available and ready to go. What are we watching on the Spurs? Steph Castle, who I don't think is a guy to roster in 12-team leagues. I think you can do a lot better than holding on to him. And it's not going to get better as Vassell's minutes push up and Sochan returns. And then for the Suns, I do want to see what the Iguodaro-Plumlee situation looks like. In terms of stream guys, Julian Champagnie continues to play really well. I think Sochan returning, and I think Vassell's minutes ramping will impact Champagnie to push him out of 12-team discussions, but for now he's there. And then on the Phoenix side, we got some pretty good stuff out of Grayson Allen the last two games. With Beal playing, it'll be very interesting to see what sort of minutes they give to Grayson, because 30-minute Grayson's borderline, 27's not a 12-teamer, and more than 30 is. And we want to see how they utilize him. We've got more games that we're going to come back and talk about, but before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by old mates over at BetterHelp. December, that is the month we are in. It is the month of coziness. It is the month of comfort. It is the month of holidays. So what are the things that make you happy and feel comfortable and feel cozy? It might be hot drinks. It might be family. It might be the loving embrace of a pet. Honestly, with sometimes the amount of thoughts that we have in our heads, sometimes therapy can be that comfort for you as well. Talking through stuff, trying to figure it out, put things into perspective. That is one of the ways that therapy is able to help. That is some of that comfort that is able to you can bring to yourself, enabling you to have that comfort long term. That's one of the goals. So if you've been thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You go online, you fill out a questionnaire, they match you up with a therapist, you have your sessions with your therapist, you chat to them, you get the comfort cracking, and then you see how it goes. And if you didn't feel it, if the vibes weren't right, you can request another therapist at no additional charge at any point. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. All right, let's bang out the final games here for Tuesday. There are 11 in total. This is the final NBA Cup day. It is the Warriors and the Nuggets is this next game. The Nuggets are 3.5-point favorites here. Both teams play 4 games this week. Golden State is Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Denver is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And at the moment, outside of the out for seasons, DeAnthony Melton and Vlatko Čančar, there's no one on the injury report. But what I would be RIPing is some players' minutes for the Warriors. I believe there is going to be a wholesale change in what they do. I think you are going to see players like Kyle Anderson. I think you might see Lindy Waters. I think you might see even Trace Jackson-Davis taken out of the rotation or at least reduced. I think what you will see is Kevon Looney maybe starting. I think you'll see Podziemski playing 30 minutes. I think you'll see Wiggins playing 30 plus. And I think you'll see a couple of extra there for the bucket John Kuminga. Just don't be surprised when this 13-man rotation moves to a 10 or an 11 in this game with another foreseeable future starting lineup change. So we want to watch that. I want to watch Brandon Podziemski. I would be very, very in on grabbing Podziemski right now just to see what happens. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe they do not play him 30 a night, but I would be grabbing and seeing where it goes. On the Nuggets side of things, Christian Brown, after a really hot start, has cooled somewhat. He's still been very good. The minutes are still very high. We'll see what happens now that Aaron Gordon should ramp back up into more minutes. What does that do for Peyton Watson? How much does Watson play that's not at the 4? Probably not much, but does that impact Brown at all? These are things to watch. And because I do believe that we're going to see more Looney versus Jackson Davis, He might be a stream guy. He also might not be, but he might be someone to stream. And then I think Watson is still streamable for Denver as we wait for Aaron Gordon's minutes to get back to his full load. Rockets and Kings were in Sacramento. Sacramento desperately needs a win, not just for the NBA Cup, just for their bloody season. The Rockets are 2.5-point favorites here, and they've got 3 games this week. Houston, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Sacramento is a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday team. Trey Lyles is out. Devin Carter is out. And Fanapants Kevin Huerter has been upgraded to questionable for Sacramento. Now, he probably doesn't play more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but he has been upgraded to questionable. I want to watch Amen Thompson for the Rockets because it's been a little bit down for Amen. There are people who do want to drop him, and you should not do that. But it is going to be up and down. There is going to be fluctuations in his playing time, much like there is for Jalen Green, much like there is for Tyrese, and much like there is at times for Dylan Brooks and Jabari Smith. That's what Houston does. The guys who don't fluctuate really are Fred VanVleet and probably Alperen Şengün. But even that, sometimes we get some weirdness going on as well. Malik Monk's the guy that I want to watch in Sacramento. Absolutely gigantic minutes for him. We'll see what they do with Huerter returning. I know that Monk's going to start, but he's played 35, 36, and 37 the last 3 games. Mike Brown relies on his starters somewhat too much. So this is the thing that's so baffling with Brown, is that he plays his starters 38 minutes a night. Malik Monk plays 26, and he goes, all right, Monk, now you're a starter, 37. Bro, you could have done that like every single game forever. And I know, to be fair to Mike Brown, he played 35 and 36 minutes off the bench the 2 previous games. But, bro. Yeah, you're adding Leaky Monkey everywhere, by the way. Like, not even thinking about that. The stream guys are Dylan Brooks, who can blow you up, or he can blow up. It's either one of those 2 things. And then Keon Ellis is probably the king streamer, but man, I don't feel good about that. You can go to Isaac Jones in the deeper leagues as well. Is this the last game? It is the last game of the day. It's the Blazers and the Clippers. The Clippers are 8.5-point favorites at home. Both teams only 3 games this week. Tuesday, Friday, Sunday for Portland, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday for the Clippers. Rob Williams is out with his concussion. Donovan Clingan with his knee. Thibault is out with the ankle. Scoot is questionable with a quadriceps issue, and Scoot returning will have a big impact on guys like Sharp, but more importantly on guys like Kamara and Avdia. Kawhi is out, of course. He is. Kevin Porter Jr., no update yet on him and his ankle, and Kobe Brown and his back issue. So on the Blazers, it is Denny Avdia that I want to watch because Jeremy Grant returned. Avdia moved to the bench. He lost about 8 minutes in that game, and he was still really useful, but that is a concern. And if Scoot plays, what does Denny do? Is he 23 minutes now? Is he 27? Is 27 enough for Avdia? And I'm not sure it is, but we watch it. In terms of the Clippers, I want to watch Zubats because I don't know what's going on, why the man can't hit free throws and why he's one of the worst free throw shooters in the NBA now. Not that he's ever been a 90% guy, but he's had multiple 70-plus seasons. I would hope that turns around, and I don't really know why it isn't. In terms of stream guys, Tamani Kamara is always an option there. I think that's really where he sits, and if Scoot plays, it probably does hurt him. And then Chris Dunn is a pretty strong stream on this day of action. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming schedule plays, including some back-to-backs here, Tuesday into Wednesday. We've got 6 teams who do play that combination back-to-back. It's Detroit. We go with Indiana. We also have the Clippers, the Bucks, the Magic, and the Sixers. These are all players that are under 40% rostered in Yahoo. We've got Goga Badadze, TJ McConnell, Gershon Yabusele, Wendell Carter Jr. I guess there's some risk he doesn't play the back-to-back, but I think we'll be all right there. Chris Dunn and Jarris Walker for the Indiana Pacers. In terms of chunks, Tuesday through Saturday, all of these players listed here play 3 games during this time frame. So Goga, BDNR, Nick Richards, yes, Mark Williams also, but there'll be a back-to-back in there, I'm guessing, for Charlotte. Malcolm Brogdon, TJ McConnell, Lou Dort, and Bilal Coulibaly. That's 3 games, 5 nights, giving you a little bit of value there. Let's take a look now at some streaming plays on Tuesday, this final NBA Cup day before the knockout games next week. The stream of the day for 10 teamers, I am going to go with TJ McConnell. Now, this can all change with other injury options, but McConnell's got 22, 23 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, good field goal percentage. He's one of those guys that's why did that screen not come up there and not completely adjust? Interesting. I don't know what happened, but it's fixed now. So TJ McConnell's a 10-team stream there. Tamani Kamara has your 12-team stream of the day. Chris Dunn for 14-teamers, and then Jarris Walker in the deeper formats. Yahoo points, I'm going with Malcolm Brogdon. And for ESPN points, I'm going to go with the Dart Goga Badadze. In terms of just your list of 10-team category stream guys, McConnell, Kamara, Dunn, Jarris Walker, Gershon Yabusele, and I do throw Case and Wallace in there right at the end. Then we've got 12-team guys, which I think a lot of these will be 10-team viable as well. Kispert, Cody Martin, Grayson Allen, Karis LeVert, Juice McBride, and a little bit of a flyer there on Kevon Looney. If we go to the deeper leagues now, we've got Dylan Brooks. We've got the artist formerly known as Torian Prince, Osa Ighodaro / Mason Plumlee, Brandon Clark, Derek Jones, and Isaiah Joe. Let's move across to look at Yahoo Points League streaming for Tuesday. Brogdon, Badadze, Koulibaly, Yabusele, Castle, and Nick Richards. And lastly, for ESPN Points League streaming, it's a very similar list. It's Goga Badadze, Malcolm Brogdon, Bilal Koulibaly, Gershon Yabusele, Lou Dort, and Timothy John McConnell. And that, guys, is the end of a preview show for the final day of the knockout games, the round-robin games of the NBA Cup. 11 games on Tuesday. So don't forget to go ahead and thumb this video up. Like it, comment, subscribe, all that stuff down below. And again, we'll keep the positive vibes going. Players are returning from injuries. We're doing good things. It's a happy time of year. Let's go and keep the positivity going. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.